It is Monday on Daily Delivery. Michael Rand here, Patrick Reusse with me as usual. Patrick, first show for my new house. I've moved all weekend, so if you can carry just a tiny bit of the sports watching knowledge from the weekend, I didn't get to watch a whole lot.
I actually watched quite a bit, but you're a suburbanite now, so
Yes.
we'll see out there. You're very close to Ziggyville now, right?
Not too far. Not too far.
Not too far from Ziggyville. So, which continues to expand out there. Yeah, I watched quite a bit of everything. I do have a system for watching the Twinks, so I watched them over the weekend. Nice win like yesterday. They're down early, 3-0. Simeon Woods Richardson looked actually pretty good. Looked like he had good stuff. I was pretty much writing an apology. We gave up 2 home runs. Once again, moronic pitch selection by these idiots. He strikes out Bregman with a hard slider that Bregman just chases. Next time they throw him a cookie hook down the middle and he hits a home run. And then they throw 3 changeups and 1 at bat to Kyle Tucker, and he hits a home run for another one. So, always go hard and then go soft. So he actually went 4 1/3 or 4 2/3. They don't have full confidence in him yet.
He's the new Chris Archer.
Yeah, they pull him early, not because he's strong. Chris Archer because he'd hit the wall. This guy just because they. They don't like him facing lefties, obviously, because they went to Thielbar, but the bullpen was fantastic, and the Astros did nothing against them. The bullpen, and then Griffin Jacks pitched the 8th inning. He was unhittable. He hadn't pitched much lately. Man, his stuff was good. Then Duran got through the 9th, and so that's a good win, 4-3. They win 2 out of 3 against the Astros. And then after the game, we're all wondering, are they really going to, Royce Lewis isn't hitting at St. Paul, so I don't know what the hurry is.
Right.
They could keep him down there a few more days. And they're going to Yankee Stadium. And anyway, they decided that they want him back. So I don't think they were up against it option-wise, time-wise, because I think you can have him do that rehab for 20 days or something. But they're going to send Julien down, and it's probably a mercy demotion. He struck out again yesterday. I think he's up to about 36 or 37 called third strikes. He had another one yesterday. He just can't pull the trigger, and it's probably a good idea to send him down. Except you're going into Yankee Stadium. He's a left-handed hitter, and if you get jammed and pop a ball up, you can hit a home run. And I don't know who's going to play second base for him. I guess Kyle Farmer, he's hitting 160, so he'll play probably more than anybody there. And Royce, they're not going to take Royce back from the injured list and say, okay, now you're a second baseman. No. They're going to have to play third. Miranda has to play.
Can Miranda play second? I mean, he's not.
He's not
great anywhere.
I was looking at a piece I wrote in 2021, and they had with the Saints, and they had played him some at second and tried to play him in left field where his life was in danger. And then but he was playing at third, but I could see him playing second in the 8th inning when they, when they get, start moving the guys around. But I would guess Willie Castro's going to have to go play second now quite a bit, him and Farmer, because outside of that, Farmer's the only second baseman they got. So, it's going to be interesting. Generally speaking, and Rocco said this too, somebody's going to get hurt. And, usually when you think, who are they going to send down when Royce comes? And by the time that happens, somebody gets hurt. But this year, no. So this is what they did. And, Miranda, I was talking last week to, I think, Phil, and Phil thought it just because of the way they operate, it might have been Miranda, but then Miranda, yesterday wins the game for him, and he just been hitting too well. So It'll be interesting to see who they play at second. But outside of that, this is a tough week, by the way. Not only the Yankees, but Pittsburgh. I don't know if you're if you're going to get Skeens and you're going to get Jones, but they have these two young pitchers that are phenomenal. Skeens hasn't been there very long, but this Jones kid, I watched him pitch about 5 innings the other day. He strikes out 2 an inning. He's got fantastic stuff. So I haven't looked at the pitching matchups, but if you go in there, they are a very good team. But man alive, they got those 2 starters, and actually they got a third guy that's pitching pretty well too. So that's week on the road, and it'll be I guess the one thing happened over the weekend was Pablo got his act together again.
That was big for them
after being awful for 3-4 games in a row. So yeah, he had his velocity back and he was throwing good. But they're so I looked this up. Last year, after 59 games, they were 31-28.
Okay.
And they were leading the division by 3.5 games. This year, they're 33-26 and are 6 games behind in third place. The new, feisty, upgraded, best division in baseball.
It's much better. That's the surprise of the year, right?
Central, yeah.
That's the surprise of the year.
Detroit's 29-30, and they're 4th. Now, the Whiteys have got some difficulties going on.
Yes.
I was just I looked at the little AP summary that we had, and it said that the Brewers continued the White Sox slide. The slide is that's not nearly strong enough word for losing 11 in a row and being 15-45. I wouldn't say that's
15-45. Gosh, that's right.
We need something stronger than slide, like plunge or plummet, a crash or something. I mean, it's unbelievable. I did have the good fortune of listening to the running across the White Sox post-game show again when they lost their 9th in a row and gave up 23 hits to the Brewers. Yeah. And Ozzie and Frank Thomas were having a real battle to see who could insult them the worst. It was unbelievable. See, they got the greatest post-game show in sports because they tell the truth.
Ozzie's great. Ozzie's great, yeah.
It would be. I wonder how our Bally would sound post-game if they were 15-45. How would they sugarcoat that? Man?
Probably wouldn't be too positive.
No, but they'd find something. They'd find something. Right. So, anyway.
Well, sophomore slumps are real, huh? I mean, you had Wallner go down early, Julien. I mean, Miranda last year. I mean, some of it was injury, but he just wasn't hitting. And now he's back. No. So it's something about that second year for these guys. They get figured out.
It is true, and they adjust. Now, Wallner's hot with the Saints. He was bad at first, but the last week or so, he's hitting again. So, but Larnick's, been good enough, so he's staying. So, they're if they want to. They got a little ammunition to trade for a secondary pitcher if they run into one, if they need one. Louis Varland has been getting knocked around in his last few starts in St. Paul, hasn't been doing well, and Festa wasn't real good. So I was trying to figure out if they need a starter, who's it going to be? I think it's going to be the Dauber.
Come on.
I think we're going to get
You keep saying that. Back. You keep saying the Dauber.
The Dauber pitched 5 or 6 innings yesterday and didn't get beat up, and we still got him under contract for 3 more years.
Bring him back to you need him in Yankee Stadium? He's pitched a big game in Yankee Stadium before.
Yes. Isn't that amazing that he started a playoff game in Yankee Stadium?
Game 2 of a 101 win season.
Yeah,
right. That was the Bomba Squad year, right? That he started game 2.
Yeah, right. Started game 2. So I think Phil suggested that the other day, and I looked at him in the press box like he was insane. And then I started looking and said, maybe the Dauber, bring back the Dauber. How about that? So. Anyway.
When he was good, I mean, again, it was a very small sample, but when he was good for him. But when he ran into that, was it a blister problem that he had that took forever to heal?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, because all he throws is those sinkers, and that's probably hard on the fingers there. He's probably hard on a blister, but he's once in a while he pitches 5-6 innings and he gives up 2 runs, and then other times he just gets pounded.
Right.
But I would think that his effectiveness probably isn't much different in AAA or
That's
the big
true.
leagues because it's the different stuff. I mean,
Right.
it's not like big league stuff that's going to knock the bat out of the hands of AAA guys.
Right.
So,
Right.
but bring back the Dauber. That was what a the greatest contract ever signed by a Twin. 9-some. They said, Dauber, we want to lock you up for 5 years at cheap prices, and he said, "Good, I'll take it. Let's go." So
nothing is guaranteed
anyway.
beyond that. I mean, he was driving an Uber. When you've driven an Uber before, I think you probably take what you can get. What a weird year for this team, though. I mean, I know we've talked about this before, just the ups and downs. But now they're on this next upswing. What is
it? 8 out of 10 now, or something like that?
Because they were down to 24 and 23, right? So
they lost
33 and 26. So
they started their third set of 20 games with 7 straight losses, but now I think they ended up. I don't know, 8 out of 10.
I think 9 out of 11 then, if it's 33 and 26 now. Yeah.
Yeah, 33 and 26. Yeah, it has been weird. It's been extremely strange. And we'll see what, Royce was not hitting at all down there. So we'll see if he's ready to give him a lift, or not. He'll obviously be in the lineup. If they're calling him up, he'll be in the lineup Tuesday, I would guess. And Miranda will probably be DH. And that might mean less DHing for Ryan Jeffers and more catching for, maybe he'll catch 2/3 of the times instead of 1/3 of the time or something. Christian is still fighting to get over that 150 mark, something like that. So
you got to figure that Farmer can't be long for this, right? I know they got money in him, but if Julien goes down and starts hitting, that's got to be the next move, doesn't it?
Yeah, I would guess. They like him. They like having a veteran infielder around. And, I think they would fully expect Julien to get down there and get his act together and start swinging at pitches more. He never, he can't hit the low pitch. So he doesn't swing at it. And he really, if it's not a fastball, he's terrible. He freezes on breaking balls, and they put a lot of their stock in him for the future, and he's got power, and he can draw walks. But man alive, you can't. He's if he played all year with him, he might have 75 called third strikes. Yeah. He might set a world record. I don't know you can't go far back enough in the analytic era, of full stats to know what the record is for called third strikes. But he's pushing 40.
He's got to be unbelievable. Yeah. Given how the season's played out and given what they've got in return, you got to imagine I don't know if regret's the right word, but be nice to have Polanco right now is what I'm saying.
Yes, yeah, he could play second. Well, he's at 190 last I looked.
I know.
Something he isn't good, but then again, he has actually appeared, unlike Topa, who's it's a knee problem, right?
I think so, yeah,
Topa or something. It's not an arm problem, but I don't know. Their bullpen's not a problem though. Right now, they're pretty good. The bullpen's pretty good. And Alcala coming back and throwing strikes, finally starting to throw strikes has really helped them too.
You're right. I didn't realize how bad Polanco's struggling. 195, 595 OPS. He's playing a lot. He's just not hitting.
I'll tell you what the problem is. The pitching everywhere.
The pitching is so good.
It's too good.
It's too good.
Yes, it is. And I don't know what they can do. Everybody talks about, maybe we'll move the mound back 2 feet. Well, with the arm problems they're having, they're setting themselves up for a lawsuit, class action lawsuit if they do that. So I don't know. It's just going to become some much lower scoring game, and I don't know what you can. I don't. You could. Well, if they go to the automatic strike zone, you probably get even one more walks. But who wants it? What
But you don't want to watch that. It might create more
runs. What the game needs
runs.
is the ball in play.
Yes.
They need the ball in play, and I don't know what you can do to make the ball go in play because the analytics are right.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it, but I hate it, but they're right that you have a better chance to score on a 2-run home run than getting 4 straight hits.
Yeah.
That's, so that's why everybody sits and waits to hit home runs and strikes out and walks it's the way to score runs, home runs. And they've taken the excitement out of the home run, and they've also taken the excitement out of the individual at bat. So anyway, the game's got some problems. There's no doubt about it.
How do the hitters fight back against all these like designer pitches, and they can like fine tune your spin rate? It's like you can only do so much in the cage. Like you don't start with the ball, right? Like you are at the mercy of whatever's coming at you in that kind of split second. So you can only adjust so much. The pitchers are, with all of the technology that they have gained that upper hand in terms of like being able to find different break and spin rate and knowing exactly like what to do to get you out.
Yeah, they can. They can't go and throw every day all winter like hitters can go and hit.
True. But
I've talked to. I remember having a discussion with Wes Johnson about 3 years ago about how, how much not easier, but how much more work can be done to improve pitching than hitting. So,
I mean, it's amazing.
You got to get to the ball, and there's guys can spend endless hours in the cage, but if a pitch is too good, you can't hit it.
No, because you can't see it. You can't. No. The thing that you can do to identify pitches, like your eyes aren't good enough to get to some of these pitches. So it is like the waiting game, like waiting for a mistake, like those rare mistakes where it doesn't break or it catches too much to the plate or it's in a hitting spot. But if you miss that, then the at-bat's over.
Hey, and I want to pay tribute to Joey Gallo.
Okay.
Joey was down to 120, but I saw yesterday, I saw him coming up, and he was all the way up to 141. So good for him. He had a few hits lately, apparently, to get up for 141. You got the Washington Nationals.
When's he done with chances? When is he out of chances?
I don't know, but you've been rebuilding in Washington since 5 years since you let Bryce Harper go, you morons. And they've started all over again, and you got this young team, and then you got Joey. What are we accomplishing by having Joey hitting 140 on a team that's rebuilding?
151 now. Just looked it up. 150.
Oh my God! He had another hit yesterday. Probably
18 hits in 119 at bats.
How many whiffers?
I have to go a little deeper. I'm just looking at the. We'll find it here.
Let's see how many. It's probably not over 40. Maybe 45.
I bet it's got to be. It's a lot. It's
right. I mean, his last 2 months here were unbelievable.
Ridiculous.
He had like 80. It was unbelievable. And then he gets. Now he had to settle for half of what he got here. He got 5.5 from Washington. So
Patrick, 63 strikeouts in
63
in 109. So more than half of his outs have been made by the strikeout. Although more than half of his outs last year were strikeouts. 142 and 282 at bats last year. So
unbelievable.
That's crazy. That's ridiculous. I mean, even at least here, like his. Whatever we said about him last year, which all of that was true, like his OPS last year was 741, which is, it's above major league average. He got there in a way that like nobody wants to watch because he had 50 hits in 282 at bats. And so then 31 of them were extra bases, including 21 homers. I mean, he carried him for like a couple games there. So, but this year, it's not even that. It's OPS 589. Like he's just not giving you any of the good stuff with the rest of it.
Yeah, I don't get. I do not get that at all. And I mean, 2 years ago with the Yankees, he hit 160 or 165 or something.
That year with the Yankees and Dodgers, they both won a bit of it. 160 for the year, yeah.
160 for the year. I said, what are you signing him for? And then even more mysterious, what is Washington signing him for? But it's unbelievable.
It's entirely possible that of the last 4 years, the Twins got the best of Joey Gallo. Consider that. Yeah. Try that on.
Seemed like a nice enough fellow.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just, what is going on here? I don't get it. So anyway,
he probably isn't helped, but he probably isn't helped by all the designer pitches these days either.
No,
that probably.
No. But the Twins, they're playing okay again because they're actually getting 3-4 runs a game. They're not. Correa's been okay, and some of their hitters, Larnix hit some home runs, and Kepler isn't hot now, but he comes up, you don't feel like he's going to make it out now,
right.
And so we'll see. Royce coming back, we'll see how that works.
They navigated the time without him in really good shape. If they're 33-26 and they've had him for 3 innings this year, you got to feel pretty good about getting him.
Hasn't made it out yet.
That's right. Hasn't made it out yet. Say that about anybody else who was on an opening day roster this year.
Yes.
Hey, let's transition a little bit to Wolves. I know that the series ended on Thursday. I was fully prepared to do a Game 6 podcast after a marathon day of moving on Saturday, but turns out it didn't have to because they no-showed. They got ripped hard by the broadcast crew Thursday night, and for good reason, right? They kind of no-showed that Game 5.
It was 18-18, and then it was 40-19.
Yes, it was amazing.
It was just, and they really melted down into what they were trying to do. You could not figure out what they were trying to do. And Edwards dribbling down towards the double team and then turning around and retreating. And they were just confused. It was brutal. And by the time that was over, the game was over. Yeah. I mean, it's, you get outscored 22-1. Luka was at his best, man.
He was great.
He had 20 with, was it 20 with 20 with 3 minutes to go in the first.
Yeah, he had a couple early threes, and I was like, uh-oh. He looks like he wants to close it out.
So we find guys for yelling at people in the stands and having confrontations with guys in the stands. Luka, he doesn't have confrontations. He just tells them to go bleep themselves.
Yes.
It's unbelievable.
He's a trash talker.
God, what a character to everybody.
Yes,
what a character he is.
Especially Gobert in the game 2. Yeah. He let him have it. Let him know about that one.
You can't guard me. But but Sean Sweeney, I talked to him for a minute, and the assistant from Dallas, and he said he's like crazy. When he makes a shot, he just, way to go, Luka. He's yelling at himself. He's yelling positive reinforcements and stuff. I said in the Denver series, Jokic is the most unique basketball player I've ever seen. This guy's in the top 5, man.
Yeah.
He's 6'7" almost. He's fat, and he doesn't play any defense. But man, he can get his shot off. He is really. Somebody used the word clever, and I think they are. He is, and then he's getting shots off that. The step back, the step up, the step everything. He's got great feet, great court sense.
Yeah. He
was playing pro ball when he was 14 somewhere in the homeland, and he was with Real Madrid at age 16 at Real Madrid at 16 in the top European league. And he can shoot the ball, and he's obviously an addict too, a basketball addict. Supposedly, when this is all done, if he's healthy, he's going to play with Slovenia to try to qualify for the Olympics.
That's great. Why not?
Yeah.
So, it's not fair to have him and Kyrie on the same team. As they both, how many dunks did Dallas have in that series?
Did you see the stats on the 2 centers?
Oh yeah, they didn't miss.
Gafford was 24 for 32, and Lively was 16 for 60.
Yes, he didn't miss.
So they were 40 for 48, and 20 of them had to be dunks at least, right?
Most of the shots were about 0.2 feet away. It was right at the rim, and it was lobs, and it was easy dunks too, like wide open, because they They're just so good at. They're so good at finding those guys. It's like you can't. When those guys were playing at that level, it's almost impossible to guard them consistently.
And where and about 3 times you said, "Where's Luka throwing the ball here?" And a lot way up in the air, and boom! One of those 2 guys. That Gafford really played well. I wasn't that impressed with him early on, but man, alive, he's rugged, and and they that gave them a chance. They were 2 games over 500 or something when they got to the trading deadline. 2-3, they looked like they were going to be in the play-in tournament, and and then they, and let's face it, Kyrie being interested makes a lot of difference. Because he spent 3 years not playing, and last year they got him there, and when it became obvious that they weren't going to do anything, they basically shut him down because they wanted to protect the top 10 draft choice. And, they wanted not to make the playoffs. So, we kind of blame Kyrie for not playing, but I don't think they wanted him to. They wanted to lose. So, God, is he good, though?
Yeah, he's really good.
Because when Luka's sitting, in the third quarter, Luka's sitting, maybe he can make a little run, and all of a sudden he just takes over the game. So.
What do you think? It sounds like more or less they're going to run this back. That was kind of the tone I got from Chris Hines' kind of end of year story, and obviously he talks to people on and off the record. So take that for what it's worth. You get to the conference finals, and so there's that temptation, but there's also like, what's the ceiling beyond this year for this team, and what does continuity do versus kind of addressing whatever shortcomings you think you have on this team? It's a fascinating offseason, obviously, with the ownership stuff too.
The fact that Connolly's saying they're going to bring people back, just remember, he came in and said, we don't have to do any major shake-up to this team.
I'm just trying not to screw this up.
They're not screwing it up, and then he makes the Rudy Gobert trade.
That's true.
So I do not believe that, and he doesn't. There were no rumors of that happening. None of the national guys had a hint that was happening, which is almost impossible in basketball.
Yeah. Yes.
And I still think if they can move Cat, they'll move him.
Yeah,
I really think, but they want to get something back. They don't want to just give them up for number one or something like that. But the other thing, not only do you need a trade partner, but you need somebody who can give you 80% of what he's making or something.
Right. With the new cap rules and stuff,
and get you out of it. Then you need a 1-year contract that you got to take on. So
yes.
I don't know. The other thing that kind of happened in the playoffs is we saw the other side of Nas in this year too, where he can't guard anybody. So the idea that Nas could just step in and replace him, I don't know. It is funny though how Cat likes it here. Everything he's doing is like lobbying to stay. Rudy, you can't move Rudy, so I mean, the only guy you can move is Cat, I think.
Yeah. So. You wouldn't want to move Rudy either if that's your whole identity is built around defense, and he's defensive player of the year. I mean, he had his moments in the playoffs where it looked like there was a struggle, but he was a big part of why they got here. A huge bounce back year, and he's interesting too, though, because he's got, after next year, I think he's got the opt out in his contract, so he's kind of.
He ain't opting out.
No,
he's not opting out. Nobody's gonna. He's 30. He'll be 32 then, right? Was he 31 now?
I think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. The other, I think one thing they didn't do this year. I was talking about this the other day. Is none of these young guys. They went 8 deep, 9 deep, and they didn't really. They never. I mean, the Miller kid just sat.
Josh
Clark kid was hurt. Minot. They didn't develop any of these.
No,
young
they
guys.
haven't played any of these guys. Like Wendell Morris has been sitting there. Minot's been sitting there. Miller.
I think from what I hear, they've made up their mind on Wendell Moore, but he's not going to play. But Minot, they like. Leonard Miller, they really like.
Yeah.
And Leonard, right?
Leonard Miller. And is he a 3 or is he a 4? I'm trying to.
He's a big, tall guy.
He's
but
a big, tall guy.
play.
I don't know if he's that bulky, though. Yeah.
He can play. No, he's skinny, but my guy Terry Kunze loves him from watching him in the G League and other places. But yeah, I mean they got a. I don't think they. They were grinding all year trying to get the number 1 seed and trying to stay up there. So I can see why they didn't play those guys. But Kyle Anderson isn't back. Who else isn't back that played this year? McLaughlin probably.
McLaughlin, but nobody. Anderson's the only real prominent free agent, right? Everybody else is under contract.
Yeah, that's right. So I don't know where they're headed, but what Tim Connolly is telling me does not mean anything to me. I don't.
Yes.
I don't, because he already has demonstrated that he's smarter than us and will have things going on that nobody will find out about. So we'll find out here. And I think Cat comes out of this with his reputation improved, don't you?
Oh yeah, All-Star this year. He played. Yeah. He played better in the playoffs. He helped them win some important games, including Game 7 in Denver. So yeah, I feel like this isn't the situation where they were at with Wiggins 3 years ago, where it felt like they had to just unload him. He's not that kind of player. He's a good player.
Well, the other thing is the one quote from Connolly and others is 1 year of this. If you have 1 year of this way, way over the super cap or whatever it is, you don't get punished as badly, right? But with the draft choices and stuff like that.
Or with the being able to do other free agent stuff. Yeah,
do other free agent stuff. So he basically did say you can survive 1 year of this way, but if you can only survive 1 year doing this might be the time to move Cat. Because, maybe he won't be as valuable at the end of next year. Maybe he won't have as good a season, and maybe you won't be able to get as much for him. So
Or you take the penalty this year because you're going to have to take back salary for Cat. But if you can take on somebody who's only on an expiring contract, you've got to worry about that money the following year.
That's what you need. You need if you can get a number 1 on an expiring contract. I don't know. I mean, the guy's. He's tried to be a good teammate and seems to have succeeded in reaching that point. So I don't know. It'd be tough to say goodbye, but I think something will happen this offseason. I don't know what, but I think something will happen.
Yeah, and I still think they could be a contending team depending on what they get back without him next year. But it would leave a hole for sure. It would leave a hole.
The guy they can't trade is they can probably get something for Nas, but I don't think they can trade him. The public could get very upset.
No, and he's under such a relatively team-friendly contract for what he could do.
Yeah, that's right.
Funny that $14 million is team-friendly. That feels like pretty player-friendly as well, if you ask me. But
the guy I wrote this, and maybe I'm wrong, but they got to do something with the McDaniels, man. You can't have games like that. Playoff games where he doesn't take any shots and he just basically, I know he had foul trouble, but they just basically went back to ignoring him.
Right.
He had 2 or 3 great games, and the other game, nobody ever throws him the ball.
Right.
He never has the ball. Edwards is out there dribbling around in circles. Throw the ball to him once in a while and see if he can do something with it. He's had a few games when he was, he had a very explosive offensive game, and then I don't know. You got to get something out of him offensively.
Consistently. And Finch always says, their offense, you can tell how good their offense is by how much they're getting from McDaniels, how much he's getting the ball in good spots.
I said that their barometric pressure was going straight down the team. He's always saying he was the barometer of the team. If he's the barometer of the team, that's why you stunk against Dallas in Game 6.
Game 5. But it's amazing. It's amazing they built.
Never got to 6.
Never got to 6. It's amazing though they built themselves up to beat Denver, and then Dallas comes along with this kind of hodgepodge team they put together at the trade deadline. I mean, obviously Kyrie and Luka were already together, and that's a big part of it. But the additions they made, it's like you can't plan for everything, right? It turned out to be a bad matchup. Dallas is just playing so well right now. It just turned out to be the matchup that they didn't they didn't have the answers for. It seemed like, or they ran out of gas. I don't know. These guys played like 100 games this year. They maybe they're not conditioned for that either, because we are not conditioned for long playoff runs with the Timberwolves, and maybe they weren't either. They kind of looked gassed at the end there.
Yeah, I think that. Well, one thing is they did. Those guys played a lot of minutes down the stretch, man. They did not. There was no cruising down to down the stretch. So I don't know. There was that Denver series should never be forgotten, even with the Dallas fiasco, because that was one of the great athletic events in Minnesota history. The 7-game series that was totally unpredictable in all areas.
Lopsided games all across the board. It was just like even the last game was, Denver gets out to a huge lead and then the Wolves come flying back. Hey, final thing. Let's talk. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say I think you were at the Lynx game the other night. That's a surprise team of the WNBA right now, 6-2. We knew how good Collier was, and she maybe even has another level already this year. But look, all the additions they made this offseason, they look like a really good team right now.
Yeah, they do. They have deep depth. They put this little French girl. They say she's 5'5". She looks like she's about 5'3". Opupa or something like that, and she hadn't played at all. She's 30 years old, been over in France forever, and they wanted to come over here and play, and they put her in the game last night. And she basically won the game for them. She had 4 steals and ran. She was going at 100 RPMs, and everybody else was going at 80, and she's good. And they, when they had one point guard banged up and the other one wasn't playing well, they go to the third one. So they have in the free agent. I mean, McBride is playing really good. I didn't realize she's a pretty good defender, and because you think of her as a shooter, but she played good defense. And Collier's one of the best players in the league, and they're pretty good. They are they're okay, and wasn't a big crowd there last night. I don't know what they announced, but it was a little thin, but. They might double or triple their playoff win total since Maya Moore. Since
you're the unofficial keeper of that stat.
Right now, they're sitting at 1.
I thought they had 2. They only have 1. I thought they had 2.
Did they get 1? Did they win 1 last year?
They did one. They won 1 last year. Okay, they won game 2 in Connecticut last year.
So they doubled it.
They doubled it last year.
They won 2 without Maya, but. Collier's, I wouldn't say she's Maya, but she's close. She's really good.
She's great.
Yeah. I talked to her a little after the game, about the 3-on-3 thing they got going.
She's an investor, right? She's a big.
Yeah, she's one of the founders, basically.
One of the founders, right? Yeah.
Her and Sue Beard. It is amazing, the Connecticut, the UConn connection, isn't it? I mean, all these players are like through generations of Sue Beard and Bird, and I mean, they all know each other, because they're UConners and they're all buddies, and it's a phenomenal connection, that's for sure. And then you throw in the fact that the teams that go out there and play for the Sun end up becoming adopted UConners, because I mean, that team is there just because of UConn being good in women's basketball. So, and it's right next door, and it's quite a connection. And they've invented this 3-on-3 thing that'll give them a chance to make a little extra money, and you won't have to be like Lindsay Whalen and go play in Siberia to supplement your income in this league. Although, boy, how long are they going to get away with paying what they're paying? The WNBA. I mean, still, what's the top? 200,000
something like that, 250, something like that. Yeah,
I like that. So, I mean, it's a half a season, so it makes sense. But anyway, what do you think of a mugging Caitlin every chance?
Oh boy, I was just looking at
this is getting to be the point where you got to wonder. Okay, is this some kind of plot by the gals who don't like the Caucasian girl getting all the pub? I mean, to be blunt, that's it. Now she's a feisty little son of a gun, and gave a little push in the back to that player that ended up mugging her. But the amazing thing is Angel Reese over on the sidelines. Did you see that?
No,
clip?
I didn't see that. What'd she do?
Angel celebrating when her teammate knocked her on her rear end. So yeah, and then Angel
didn't talk to the media.
Angel got fined for not talking to the media. Yeah.
Right.
The other player did talk to the media. She just wouldn't answer any questions.
And then
Caitlin Clark again saying, that's okay.
Right.
She's brushing it off.
Right.
But she had a stinker last night.
Yeah,
one
points?
basket, 3 points. So, I mean, what? I don't know what people were expecting. Because the Timberwolves' number one pick was what, like fourth or so, Philly?
The Lynx, yeah.
Lynx. I mean, Lynx.
She was eighth, I think.
Oh, that far down. No,
yeah, because they traded out of the Reusse pick, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. She doesn't play.
No, she scored a bunch the other night, I think. She scored like 20 points the other night, but yeah.
In a loss, right?
She doesn't play much, but yeah, she doesn't. She plays.
She hasn't. Last night she didn't play until it was over. No. So she hasn't been playing much. So she's a little undersized for her position, I guess. So
yeah.
Anyway, but right now they don't need her. They look pretty good. So we'll see. Cheryl's got other things on her mind too. When's the Olympic break? Well, they got 3 weeks off.
Yeah, I was just looking at their schedule, trying to figure out when Caitlin comes here.
Have they named their team yet for the Olympics? Do we know what the roster is?
They must have. You would think.
I don't know.
Maybe they didn't. The break, their last game before the break is July 17th, and they don't come back till August 15th after that. So they'll be off almost a full month.
Take a month off. Wow. Yeah. Well, it's now gotten to the point where they've expanded the game schedule to 40 games, right? And it's gotten to the point where they really can't have players going. They're getting the season getting long enough now. They can't have these players going to Europe, and China and every other country. So anyway, the 3-on-3 thing that they're trying to figure out that would only take a month and make some money. We'll see if that works or not. Although they're not playing I didn't realize this. They're not playing the 3-on-3. That's kind of the Olympic version where you just take the ball back you got to shoot within 12 seconds. And you just take the ball back to the mark there. Okay. This is full court on a 2/3 court.
Oh, okay.
3-on-3 regular basketball.
Okay.
So I think like Jay's. I don't know what Jay-Z's 3-on-3 is. Is that the Olympic 3-on-3 or is that a full court 3-on-3? I don't know.
Oh no, I had when they started that league a bunch of years ago, the Big Three. I wanted to go and do something on it. I should have. I never did, but yeah, I don't know exactly what the rules are. I think
they were gonna supposedly offer Caitlin $5 million or something, right? So
a good league for her.
They might not beat her up.
Yeah. We should get out of here. Vikings minicamp starts tomorrow. I know you're excited about that.
All right. JJ is going to look great, and let's all debate. Let's get into that debate. What week should JJ become the starter? Let's determine that in June.
Early June.
These drives me nuts. These ESPN discussions. When should Drake May become the starter? Let's see how they play. I think Boston already declared. One of the quarterbacks already got declared to be the starter, right?
Well, Caleb Williams, I think, is the starter.
Caleb Williams, yeah. But this whole thing, what do you think J.J. McCarthy should be the starter? How about let's see how he plays and how Darnold plays, and then we can determine that. What do you think?
Yeah. Nobody has any patience anymore. Not a bit. Me included.
Well, no. Plus, you need topics. You need topics to discuss. Anyway.
Yeah. You don't have patience either, especially if the national anthem is playing. So.
Well, hey, very satisfied with the Lynx national anthem yesterday. It was kind of a grade school group. I love those. They get it done. A minute and 10 seconds max.
Yeah.
Not the 3-minuters we got with the Timberwolves, man. It was, just get it over with. Come on. We've all heard it. We've all heard it plenty of times. Let's go. Come on. All right.
Thanks, Patrick. Bye-bye.